or someone will say link it to per capita GDP and adjust it by inflation. Someone will say, oh, 4 years. Someone will say 3 years. It all depends on the analysis that will happen, subject to sort of approval processes at the top. So with this background, we kind of read almost every newspaper in the country, listened to various TV programs, radio stations, discussions, and you realize that three sort of issues come up, or two. One is related to the time this particular committee is set up, usually towards the end of a president's term. And once that is done, you realize that the beneficiaries tend to sometimes get confused as to how much they are going to get. And that alone is a big issue. Uncertainty, you don't know how much to ask from a friend, you don't know how much to invest here, and things like that. So that has been a major issue. We realize that salaries are delayed for 4 years, indeed. If you look at, as Madam raised it at the beginning, 2020, as we speak, they are getting 2020 salary, and if you check what Engineer Atta gave, not him alone, and your committee has a long name, so sometimes I'm not able to pronounce it. Public Services Joint Standing and Negotiating Committee. Okay, you realize that they look at several factors, and they go through a series of negotiations and then get those annual adjustments done for us. If you compare, if you are within the single spine sort of structure, you've not received any, I mean, you are not promoted, you are not shifted to the next level, and you compare your base pay at that time and now, you realize that it's almost about 80%. What they are getting now is about 80% of what they had in 2020, and someone's salary has not moved an inch. So that issue indeed is a big concern for beneficiaries. And indeed, the one will also raise this point that in that case, then the value of their money is seriously deteriorated. The money that will come later. Some of us in the universities have done some computations. They've not finished, so I don't think I have the permission of the chair to bring that literature, but it can be worrying. So as we move into our various groups for discussions, you need to help us to reflect on what to do about issues of that nature. And then the almighty gratuity, how far one can go. We also need sort of inputs from you. At this stage, I will end here, and then hope that we'll get a lot of inputs from you during the discussion stage. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Professor Isaac. Can you hear me? Hello. So thank you very much, Professor Isaac Osayakoto, member of the Presidential Committee on Emoluments, for your presentation. So at this point, we will open it up for discussions, contributions, questions, and these are going to be coming from you. So the drill is you just raise your hand, I'll bring the microphone over, you identify yourself, and then I'll take it in batches of three. 3 questions or contributions to start the discussion rolling. So, microphone is available for the very first person to open the floor. You have a second microphone? Yes, so you are inside there for me. What's your name? So Emmanuel has a microphone. If you need him, just raise your hand and he will bring the microphone over to you. I'm sure you've digested what the professor has spoken about with respect to the emoluments and privileges of Article 71 office holders. The whole idea of this engagement is to get input from you to feed into their work, and so we are really grateful for your time here, and we look forward to you. Is there a hand up? Just raise a hand. Yes, there's a hand up. Emmanuel. There's first hand there. So number 1, number 2. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Your name and then your contribution. Name, organization, contribution.
My name is Cephas Amada. I work with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Mine is not a question, but it's a little contribution I want to make to Dr. Akoto's presentation.
Yes, just keep it brief for us.
Yes.
Yes.
In the presentation, he indicated the institutions that benefit from or that are classified as Article 71 office holders, the institutions that are headed by such people. And he mentioned institutions such as Auditor General, District Assembly Common Fund, Public Services Commission, Lands Commission. But what I want to add is that when we say the heads are Article 71 office holders, it doesn't mean all workers in such institutions are Article 71 office holders. The workers in Public Services Commission are not Article 71 office holders. They are on the single spine. And so it is with Lands Commission and all other commissions as stated in the paper before us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The gentleman here with a contribution. Let's the microphone go to him. Anybody else? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Please identify yourself and your organization.
My name is Michael Bodi. I work with Ghana Integrity Initiative.
Thank you.
I think that we here are going to face a difficult task, and so as a committee. I am saying this because I feel we have been invited here to decide the fate of a man who had killed a father and mother, and when he's being sentenced, he asks for mercy because he's an orphan. Who made him an orphan? We are being asked to contribute to a review of salaries because economic conditions are hard. I am excited about the principles that had been set up. May I also plead with you that as you consider the review, one of the considerations may be let's remain at 2020 because we cannot pay, because it is not fair, because the socioeconomic conditions cannot support an upward adjustment. Thank you.
So we got a comment there. There's another hand. Some hands are going up now, sprouting quickly. Yes. It always takes the first couple of comments to open it up for the rest. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Ifa.
Yes, sir.
I work with Send Ghana.
Send Ghana.
Yeah.
Good.
It appears the CSOs we are talking, but I don't know whether it is right for me to make this point now. But following from Prof's presentation about the fact that every 4 years you have to look at the emolument of Article 471 holders, and I was thinking about the challenge that he even mentioned about even delays in setting up the committee and all that. Why don't we think about not coming every 4 years to do this, but just like every public servant, when there's an increment, you see an increment in those in the public sector. Why don't we do same? Rather than coming on every 4 years to get these things done. That is one thing that I think we should consider, so that wouldn't be the burden of every 4 years. And we are not being fair. 2020 up to now, some of us would, even every year, will be looking for increment in salaries. But this, they have to be there until 4 years' time, and then the committee will decide their fate. Another thing, that is my last I don't know whether it's still time to talk about it. Madam Chair for the committee spoke about the fact that maybe we shouldn't be looking at expelling or canceling the popular, what do you refer to that, as ex gratia. And I, as a civil society president and economist, looking at the huge burden that the ex gratia actually look at as far as this country is concerned, I believe that we have to reconsider it, because the point is that it's not only Article 71 holders who are contributing to the economy. How about the ordinary, excuse me to say, security guard working for the ministry? Do they get ex gratia? I don't think so. And if you look at the quantum of money, I had engagement with some MPs, and why they are against not scrapping the ex gratia is because that is the only source of money that possibly they use for their campaigning and whatnot. We know that now politics is about really having money, but I believe that the ex gratia should be cancelled, either cancelled or every Ghanaian is entitled to ex gratia. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go. So we thank you so much for the contributions. We had 3. That was the rule. So if there are any comments to these, or I can, Ms. Nana Chair, I can go back for more. Okay, so I'll go back for more. 3, 1 over there, 1 over here, 1 over here. And then we'll just go like that. We'll get there. So 1, 1, 1. And then we'll start from here. So yes, name, organization, contributions. Yes, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm from the TUC. I think our main concern...
Your name, sir?
Prince.
Yes, sir.
I think our main concern is the fact that Article 71 seems to have created a class system in the public service where a group of public sector workers are treated differently and creating a sense of unfairness among others. And then this also links to issues of pay. And I think that as we discuss going forward, there are issues about delays and arrears, but let us also be reminded about the commitment by the executive when the trade unions accepted 4 and 7% that they were going to stay their pay for 2021 and 2022. So as we think about adjustment, we must also bear in mind the commitment that the executive made. That also influenced the trade unions to also accept 7 and 4% in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. One from this row. Yes. Then we'll take another one from this row. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Richard Salome, General Secretary, Ghana Medical Association. Thankfully, he's mentioned being a comrade in the labor front. He's mentioned the issue about creating some caste system where some public servants are on a certain level and others are on a certain level, which we think is not fair to the society and creates unfairness and sometimes quote and unquote hatred, if you don't, for the want of a better word, and people may even be shying away from such positions in the future. The other bit which we want to also question is, we've seen in preparing for this meeting, we've tried to go over the reports, and even the last report referenced the other reports, some of their recommendations. Hearing the comments, we are just recycling, going back and forth over the same issues. And I'm sure if you go through the report, the same issues. System that was designed and other things that were designed by previous committees so that they ensure fairness is never implemented. And many other things. The issues about the expansion of the Article 71 from the original as captured in the Constitution, having to look at all these. All these are reports that have been done. We've spent time and done. The question is, what are we doing here today? Are we going to go back, collect views, and then the reports? The important thing is just getting them sorted and then we go. The delay issue is also of concern to us because it's difficult to think that those with the power wait for 4 years, suffer for 4 years, and then quickly come, because that's what is told us. In May, somebody may begin to conjecture that is a way of gaining some sort of sympathy for pushing the issue through rather than actual delay, because you have the power to get this thing done so that you are paid on time rather than wait for 4 years to have it done, so that it seems as if the this process is being stampeded through that. So it's just a few comments and thoughts shared
All right.
from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's keep it brief so that we can gather as many inputs as possible, and then we'll move here as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'm Kenneth Yaokato, representing Ghana Institute of Planning.
Ghana
Institute of Planning.
Institute of Planning. Okay, go ahead.
As planners. Thank you. I think there are two main issues that I want to bring on board.
Yeah.
One, I think my colleague from GMA had alluded that there should be a point system, and I think we also for that opinion, so that when you are entering the public service, based on this position, if you are going for point 120, you are going for 120. It's understood. Then in that case, I think that first structure is there for everybody to take on, so that after everything, everybody will be fair and clear in their mind. Number two, I think I've been in the public system for about 50 years. Those that have entered, who I've met, I'm talking about MMDCs, you look at their lifestyle now, sometimes you cry for them. After taking that man, which we shout that is big, there's Gracia. In less than 4 or 5 years, that man is gone. So based on this, I think I would like to suggest that instead of giving them in bulk, why won't it be put on a safety net system or something like a pension system where it will be given to them paid in bits, like the way they do for the public servants. After everything, we are due to take that money at a go. But I think Sanho is calculated over 15 years and give it to us by Senate every year until when God calls you. We may find a way to do similar things for them. I think in this case also, it's also going to promote accountability, and then Sanho also contribute to that corruption in the system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Gentleman in the tie, I think, raised his hand.
Thank you very much. My name is Honorable Ibn Zanate, former Member of Parliament for Aplikma Central Constituency.
Okay.
I know that many of our colleagues here, when it's time for ex gratia issue or Article 71 orders emolument, the politicians are always at the receiving end. Because, somebody go there for 4 years, he's being given an ex gratia. Another 4 years, the person is given an ex gratia. But the point is that, as Prof said, the major problem is the timing. As I'm speaking with you, I was a member of the 7th Parliament. The 8th Parliament are taking salary of the 7th Parliament members. So those in Parliament today don't know how much they will get or they are supposed to be paid as members of Parliament. If a president assumes office, I think the first thing is the committee to be put in place so that the person knows that as a member of Parliament, I'm going to receive this amount of money. But not after the person have exited. They will do the calculation for 4 years. And an additional 3 months, 4 months is added to it, and the person is being paid. Then they say, it's 4 years. Meanwhile, a civil servant or a public servant, government increase 5%, 6% every year. You go to first wages, negotiate. We want 5%. At that time, that member of Parliament or the minister or that Article 71 holders don't negotiate for only until 4 years. Secondly, I'm speaking as a former member of Parliament, and I can see Honorable Ikuasa Dancer here, and I can see my senior members. To be honest with you, when you are comparing members of Parliament, we are always at the receiving end by the insults. But let me tell you, you have a Supreme Court judge. He has been provided a car and fuel, accommodation, and everything. Members of Parliament are given a car, and I'll pay for my salary. I buy my own fuel. I do everything. So when you talk about Article 71 order, does it mean that we all benefit at the same level? No. The chairman of the Lands Commission, the second secretary of Lands Commission, is using government car. I use my own car. At the end of the 4 years, it becomes mine. These people use at the end of their 4 years, and then they have the opportunity to buy it. The last time there was a buhaha on vehicles given to members of Parliament. So why don't we do the same to members of Parliament, the same as ministers, and also that at the end of the day, it will be on a level field than single out members of parliament and ministers. And the last thing, once we are looking at Article 71 holders, there's a need to also look at other state institutions. I was so mad about a week or two ago when I heard somebody say that he's going to take about 600,000 cedis at the end of the month as his or her salary. Meanwhile, the president who appointed you is not taking 600,000. How do we justify all these people too as well? The CEOs, the MDs who are taking, all these things need to be factored and look at it. As my brother said, we'll do all this workshop, we'll do all discussion. Next year, MPs will take their ex gratia, ministers will be taking ex gratia, and the media will take like 4 months to lambast them to the end. I think the timing is something that we need to look at it. When we are able to deal with the timing, everything will be fine with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right behind you. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Let's keep them flowing.
Ransford Nyako, DC Ejumako and the Dane for MMDC is in the central region. When it was mentioned the fact that some people are on salaries as way back as 2020, I was laughing because I happened to be a DC from 2017 to 2021 before I was reappointed. And as we speak, DCs are still on salaries of 2017. We don't even know our fate, whether we are Article 71 office holders or not. Why the Constitution says that Parliament will determine our salaries. The Local Governance Act 936 says that our salaries shall be determined in accordance with Article 71 office holders. And so we don't know whether we are Article 71 office holders or not. And you can imagine, 7 years down the line, with all the inflation, exchange rates, and everything, you are still down there, plus a 30% salary cut. So what is happening to us? And I think that the Commission must bring some closure to the office of the MMDCs as far as our salaries are concerned, as to whether we are Article 71 office holders or not. Thank you very much.
Okay, there's a lady. Let's bring the microphone over to the lady, and then we'll probably take some feedback from the days, or gather some more. You want some more views? Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Akua Senadanswa. I'm a former DC, former MP, former minister. I just want to caution that we should be very dispassionate in the discussion of this matter. Because the issue we are here to discuss today is about everybody here. I may have occupied these positions in the past, and there are opportunities for others to occupy the positions in future. So if you are not affected by what we are suffering, it doesn't mean that tomorrow you will not have the opportunity. So I beg you, as I stand here, I'm still owed arrears as a former DC. I did this 97 to 2000. Yes. And as a former member of parliament, I am still owed arrears, part of which were paid in 2018. And now we are in court litigating for the payment of the balance. What is happening in Ghana? Is it an offense to serve your nation? So please, let us put our prejudices aside and discuss this matter thoroughly once and for all. I'm happy Madam Chairperson said this should be a non-partisan discussion. It is not about NDC, it is not about Akua, it is not about MPP. Please, let's do this thing once and for all, so that we don't go around every 4-year cycle talking about the same things. I also realize that if it is the title Article 71 office holders that is, irritating to the ears of Ghanaians, let's change the name and make it something so that at least people's minds and focus will not, be on it. We are suffering together. It is not an NDC thing, it's not an MPP thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Microphone, yes, just right in front of you, and then I'll come over. Yes.
Thank you very much. I am John Akologo Tia, former MP for Talensi
Talensi.
Talensi constituency.
Yes. Hold it to your mouth like an ice cream so we can hear your voice. Yes, sir.
Talensi constituency. Former Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, former Minister of Information, former Ambassador. I want us to look at these things from those of us who have worn the shoe. And I have worn the shoe at least for 20 years. I was in Parliament for 20 years. And I took part in all the negotiations of these Article 71 conditions from 1995 until I left Parliament in 2012. The issue is that, like my brother said, when this thing comes up, everybody looks at the MP. Everybody looks at the MP. But they don't look at the work of the MP. They just look at the money that is supposed to be paid to him. They don't look at the future of the MP after he has left. Or she has left, sorry, gender. I want to stand here and tell you, having risen to the position of Minister of Information, tell me which media institution can employ me? Which media institution can employ me? My brother from the public services, they said, when you leave, you get employment somewhere. At least private institutions, they will employ you and other things. There are so many other people. The other condition is that the MP is on contract by the Constitution itself, by the arrangement that has been made. You have a 4-year contract with your people. You have to go and renew that contract every 4 years. It's not your fault. And the contract says that this is what you enjoy when you are in office. And when you finish, go back and renew that contract. And when you renew the contract, the conditions are also spelled out. Then why will people be angry that you are paid over and over? You are renewing your contract, you are serving, and so on. Meanwhile, most of you by now know, if you haven't read, if you haven't heard, but at least I think you have heard one of you, at least experienced one of them. The kind of pressure that is put on MPs, the sacrifice that they put in, the salaries that they pay us, is nothing to write home about. But you say that, yeah, it's our choice. It's not our choice. If your people call you to come and serve them, who are you to say that you will not do so? Who are you? You see? Okay. So please, let's look at it from that point that there is a contract for MPs. They go and come. When you lose and go, that's the end of it. Meanwhile, let me come back to this about the issue of the cars and the ex gratia. Maybe you laugh at this statement I'm going to make. Once you are in Parliament, we don't know what happens, but you don't want to leave. So at the end of the 4 years, your people say, go, go, go. Then you say, I will go. There's no money for you to go and campaign. Meanwhile, they will be looking for the money. So you go and borrow. And you borrow against the ex gratia you are talking about. You borrow against the ex gratia. And I want to use myself. In 2012, when I was leaving, because I lost my election in 2012, when they paid me my ex gratia, and the Parliament Accounts Division, the division calculated my indebtedness to the banks and other institutions, I had to go and look for 20,000 from outside and come and maybe clear my slate. You see how it goes.
Yes, indeed.
So it is not something that people should be maybe so much flexed about. We should understand the sacrifices that some of these officials make.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think already about 3 of my colleagues have already spoken. My name is Collins Ejakunti. I used to be a chief executive and a former member of parliament for Asante Achim North. 1993 to 97. 1993 to 97. 1993 to 97. 1997 to 2007. 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 1997 to The chairperson rightly indicated in her remarks that Article 71 is an entrenched clause. And therefore, if we do not want those provisions in that particular article to be implemented, then we have to go for a referendum and change those provisions. Until we do that, nothing can prevent us from implementing the provisions. And that is why it is absolutely important that those things which make that particular article workable should be done and done early enough at all times. And that issue which I'm talking about relates to the timing in the setting up of the Presidential Committee on Emoluments. In the first parliament, that is 93 to 97, it was towards the tail end that the Green Street Committee was set up. The committee came up with its final report, and the implementation was made to take effect from 7th January 1997. Meanwhile, for the first term, we were taking, allowances. We were taking allowance on account. Every week you go to the table office, you go and sign something. No, there was no clarity. And yet, when the salaries came to be implemented, it took effect. It was made to take effect from 7th January 1997, when most of the members of the first parliament had left. We were not paid ex gratia. You can find out from all the members, those who were in the first parliament. So later, we had to fight it out before it was decided that the payment should be given to us. And at that time, looking at the erosion in terms of the quantum, as the professor, Professor Koto talked about, at that time it was realized that if they decided that they were going to pay us what we were earning between 93 and 97, the money will not be of any value. So it was decided there and then that the ex gratia should be paid using the base salary of those who exited in 2012. As I'm talking to you now, 31 years, we have not had our arrears. No member of parliament from 93 to 97 had any arrears. So we are coming to plead with this committee to try and make it part of their recommendations. Let us not forget that we were the sacrificial lambs. We were given second-hand vehicles. I remember at that time, Mr. Oswa Champo, the late Oswa Champo, called me one morning and said, Collins, there is an urgent business to be transacted this morning. So try and get as many people as possible, as many members, to be in the house. So I set off from Sakumono Estate to Parliament House. I counted about 7 vehicles whose bonnets had been opened along the way. Second-hand vehicles. And virtually the peanuts that they were given were spent on the vehicles that they were given. 31 years down the line, we have not been paid our arrears. And so I respectfully plead with this committee to make sure that they capture this and capture it very well as part of their recommendations. Thank you.
All right, there's 2 more, and then we have to take some feedback. One, over there.
Thank you. I'm Richard Kwashikove. I'm with Nagrat. The discussion is getting interesting because a few months ago we submitted a proposal for our conditional service. And and we were shown an empty purse. They told us that the coffers is empty. So Richard Kwashikove Nagrat. Yeah, we were shown that the purse is empty. So there's no money. So we should go and serve. But teachers are not given accommodation, no transport allowance. Well, how you get to school, nobody cares. But we have to teach. When the children are BC, they don't pass. We are the sacrificial lambs. That's that the MPs are also lamenting here. So what it means is that there's a need for certain amendments to certain articles in the Constitution. For example, before I would suggest, if possible, the committee should look at this. Before you become an MP, maybe you should have already been working in an existing organization where you are already on something that they are paying towards your pension. So that when you leave Parliament, you go back and continue your work. And so that you don't become on the state. You don't live on the states. So if some of these, but when you have a constitution that says anybody at all can just get up and then get to Parliament. And then, so the perception is that when I get to Parliament, now my year. So that is how the public also view our political appointees. And so it becomes very difficult for them to also console, like you are working at an organization where you are taking 2,000 Ghana cedis a month, and you hear that somebody's entertainment allowance is 2,000, the same 2,000, not his salary. And then you go to work and they put a whip under your back, work, you won't work. Because it's like you are working for somebody, and monkey they work, bamboo they what? They chop. That is where we are. So I think there's a need for serious consideration in terms of who becomes a government appointee, and don't look at it as you are going there because you want to be rich.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, my name is George Bray, MC for Ablekuma West and Dean for MMDCs in Greater Accra. So mine is just to ask for a bit of clarity in the definition for Article 71 holders. In the definition here, MMDCs are not captured. But as it stands now, Honorable Akua is in court asking for her ex gratia when she served as a DC. Right? So if MMDCs are not, fine, fair enough, then nobody goes asking for ex gratia. But if they are, then it must be in here so that they know what they are entitled to or what they are supposed to be getting whilst in office and out of office. But as it stands now, they are not captured here, and in certain quarters you see their names there, in certain quarters they are not there. So the definition must be clear such that they would also know what to ask for and when to ask for what. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All righty. Thank you so much for all the contributions.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Cosmo Serukwa from NAPS. If we insist on maintaining Article 71, how can we then be fair and consistent in determining a monument for other workers, especially the teacher who taught them all? We are all making all the, but we were taught by somebody, and that person the teacher. So if we maintain this, how can we also be fair to that person? We are taught for 40 years and cannot buy a plot of land 1,000 Ghana cedis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll just take this colleague here. That's the only one.
That's you.
Get some response.
Okay, a very short one. My name is Samuel Fumea from KNUST. I just want to find out from the committee that in your work, please, this is for the committee. Did you find any democratic country where people walk into positions without knowing the conditions of service? I think that this committee should be working ahead for those who will come next year instead of working backwards for those who have already served. Thank you.
I'll move forward to the chairman and the committee, and so some responses now. Yeah.
Thank you. Very interesting inputs, thoughts from the floor. We're most grateful. You know what? Some of these issues will come up again in our session, the various sessions. So we do not intend to respond to everything. Some of them were suggestions, some of them there were issues of frustration. I'm happy to see Auntie Akuya Dansua, my friend, my sister, has been a long time, and yeah, she looks here very well. I'm happy to see her. So that's the first thing. But I think the specific issue of the DC's MMC, I think it's clear. The law, the Local Governance Act put you there, but the Constitution is quite clear. It's quite on it. So, you know, these are some of the issues that we'll have to discuss. If it's an entrenched clause, can another law bring it as an issue? Or it was done as part of a process of ensuring that there's a system for determining your remuneration. So those are issues that I'm sure the committee is still discussing it, and it will appear at the appropriate time. On that note, what we want to do is some of the issues, class system in the country, I think we need to understand this clearly. That's our constitution. We went to a referendum and we agree that this is our constitution. There are issues, definitely, like any other human institutions. There are difficulties that, having practiced over a period of time, we need to look at it. But as our chair rightly said, it's an entrenched provision. And so there are difficulties just getting up and saying we are going to change it. But the issues raised are so critical that I'm sure, and as we rightly said, every report has really written or indicated some of these things. Clearly, we need as a country, and we'll be looking at the implementation side of the equation. I think one of our colleagues made the point that we just get up and do the pecuniary bit. We pay. And once you've paid, then all the other issues are left. Hopefully, knowing Dr. Fofie Ashes and the kind of people that they have, I'm sure we're going to get a different recommendation which may facilitate a critical look at some of the outstanding issues. So for now, I will say we'll take a pause on this particular issue. You have so many issues raised, as Gracia, paid in base, the timelines issue. Should it be done? You know, one of the things was done in the second year, as one of our colleagues said. Well, that solve part of the problem. So these are all issues that are very critical, and I'm sure once we've returned from our syndicate group sessions, we'll be in a better position to see whether there's a need to address them individually, or the group sessions would have responded to some of these things. So thank you for now, Madam. I think we have two things now. We'll have to take our snack break. But before we do that, we want to take our group photograph. But before we do that, you know, we want to try as much as possible to leave this place early. So we'll do the, we'll go into our groups, we'll break you into the groups, and then after that, we'll take the photographs, we go for the snack, then we don't return. And we go, is that all right? We don't return. All right, we only return after the group session. Is that all right? To the plenary to do that. Is that all right? Do I have consensus on that? That's one, there's no class matter in this. I mean, okay, so
we'll let you know what the groups are momentarily, but let's first take the group photo with our chairman and members of the committee and the secretary. If you can probably, who is my official photographer? Should they step down? So we're going to sort out the groupings. All right, so it's quite an interesting one. So we're going to put ourselves into groups starting from here. So remember the numbers that I'm going to give you, okay? So this is, Mr. Chairman, should I go? Should I go?
Yeah, go on.
So you are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You're running away.
Now, by the time you finish, you'll be tired. Why don't you allow the people to say themselves so that they can remember?
All right, so starting from the top, just mention your numbers all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4.
3. 'You finish?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, great. So that's what we do. So all the ones, can we have the topics? Yes. Can we have your people that facilitate? Each group you have a facilitator and then somebody to assist with the notes taking and stuff like that. So group 1. So that's all the ones. Can I see all the ones? Okay. You are not allowed. This is an entrenched provision. You are not allowed to switch. Okay. Critical factors to consider in recommending the emoluments and privileges of Article 71 office holder in accordance with the 1992 Constitution of the Republic. Please refer to 71 of the 90. So that's for you. What guiding principles should be considered by the PCE in the determination of the emoluments and privileges to be recommended for consideration by the President? So by the President, yes. It's what and why. Because that'll be group 1. Where's group 2?
Group 2. Let's show by hand. Group 2. Where are the 2s? All the 2s.
I think oh, sorry. Group 1 is critical factors to consider in recommending the emoluments and privileges of Article 71 office holders in accordance with the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. That is the executive, legislature, judiciary, and independent constitutional bodies. So you have to refer to then the group 2. Can I see the group 2? Yeah, group 2. What guiding principles should be considered by the PCE in the determination of the emoluments and privileges to be recommended for consideration by His Excellency the President? Group 3. Should the retirement benefits of Article 71 office holders be re-examined? For example, gratuity, that's ex gratia, end of service benefits, etc. Are there any other facilities and privileges you would recommend? So that's group 3. Can I see group 3 people, please? Great. Then group 4. Extension of 71, Article 70, benefits, emoluments, benefits, privilege to beneficiaries not listed in the Constitution, but through an act of Parliament, executive instruments, etc., etc. So that's group 4.
Okay.
Yes. So So that's group 4. Can I see group 4?
There you go.
Can we have the facilitators?
Yes, let me announce.
Group 1.
I'll announce them. So group 1's facilitator.
They should show up so that
Dr. Edward Kwapong, group 1 facilitator. Let's see where you are, Dr. Kwapong.
Dr. Kwapong.
Raise your hand. Group 2 is Dr. Eric Odro Osai. I see him in the front. Okay. Mr. Hayford Atakrufi is for group 3. He's right here. Yeah. And group 4 is Dr. Kweku Ajiman Budu. He's right there. So we are missing Dr. Edward Kwapong for group 1. Did anybody see him here? So out of group 1, please decide on your facilitator and come for your speaking notes from me. So group 2, Professor Enin, Statistical Service, you're here. Professor Enin, where's Professor Enin? He stepped out. Please let him know that he's
for group
1. He's for group 1. So I'll give you your brief. Group 2, Dr. Krufi is right here. Group 3, Dr. Ajiman Budu is right here. Group 4. So please let Professor Enin know that I have his notes. Can we have the ushers come to tell us exactly where they are meeting? Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4. Pearl and team.
Okay.
Yes,
where are we meeting?
We're trying to establish that. Group 1. Where's Group 1 meeting? Want to say it?
Say it. Show us.
So there's a business school right behind this building. There's a business school right behind this building. So group 1, we have a representative who will take you there.
Yeah,
so one of the ushers. Group 2 is also at the business school. Group 3 is also at the business school.
Okay.
Group 4 is also at the business school. So yes, please.
We are all at the business school, people. All right. Put your hands together for him. Professor Enin, is he around? Group 1. Where are the group 1 people? Group 1. So can we have is that Issa?
No, at least one of the groups.
Please hold it for him. Okay, so now we can take our group photo.
Yeah.
And then go for our snack.
So everybody group.
The snacks will be at Manfi Hall, right behind this hall.
Okay.
Yes. Manfi Hall is right behind the auditorium. So we can take our photographs first. Let's first of all the committee members and the secretary and our chairman first, and then all of us will come back in 20 minutes. Straight into. Hold on. We are going straight into our meetings from there. We are going straight into our breakout sessions, and the breakout sessions are for an hour. Okay, so I will end the snacks and let you know that you have an hour to go into your rooms and do your conversations. And we come back here for the plenary. So photograph, snack behind this building, breakout, and then we'll come back here. I will be having the time. You're all in one place, the business school, so I'll do that. So where do you want my people to stand, my people? In front? Okay, so committee members and chairman, please come to the front, after which we'll all join. Snacks are behind this building in Manfi Hall, and the business school also behind us for the breakouts for an hour. We'll come back here for the plenary. Committee members and secretary. Chairman in the middle. Can we have some chairman and chairperson in the middle, and let's flank them nicely.